Well, I don't even know what we're gonna talk about, so
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna
conversation, ask questions, let's go.
introductions. I'm Lance Mudd. This is a new series I'm looking to start called Esports Breaking Borders, talking about how in traditional sports barriers are broken through competition, mainly the Olympics that has been going on for hundreds of years, and everyone has sport as a national pride and a national thing that they can attach to. And in this day and age, we see esports really taking the mantle for what is actually the new forefront of breaking borders. And the most important thing is that it can be done from home. It can be done remotely. And so we're here with Fernando from Grow Up and GirlGamer, who has an
Right?
amazing new event that they've been doing for about 2 years since 2017, correct? Um,
3 years, yeah, not
three
that new,
three
right
years.
now.
Oh, come on, it's new. And Fernando's a good friend, so I'll let Fernando introduce himself a little bit.
Yeah, so as Lance was saying, my name is Fernando. I run this organization with some friends called Grow Up Esports, and we are the organizer of this event about women empowerment called the GirlGamer Esports Festival. It started in 2017, as Lance was saying, and we just finished our one, two, three, let me see, our seventh event, if I'm not, no, eighth event, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, eighth events in Dubai last well 2 months ago in February, and here we are to talk a little bit about it.
So tell me about when you guys were in Grow Up Esports, and then when did you, Tamon, yourself, when did you guys know that Girl Gamer Festival could be started, and what was the first event that you guys ran that really made you see that this is possible?
Well, I guess it started as an experiment. I would say it's something. It was something new that didn't really exist in this way. I mean, there have been other female tournaments before, but the thing is that they always, all the other organizers that start these kind of female tournaments, they always do it as a side event to the main competition. So it's normally you have a competition where it's mixed genders and open for everyone that wants to join. The problem is that you don't have actual girls joining it. So what we did is instead of creating like this kind of side tournament, like a main competition that is open for everyone, but then it doesn't have any girls, and create a side tournament just for girls, what we did is we just created a main event, a whole main event only for girls to give them the opportunity to compete and to have the exposure that they need in order to raise the awareness that they can also be very competitive.
And so when you first started, did you notice that this was a problem in the market, that you saw that there was only people still running male dominated tournaments and they were running kind of women tournaments as a side gig to kind of promote, but not really focus on them? When did you see that what year was it when you saw that that was a problem and you guys wanted to step in?
Well, we've actually been seeing this for quite a while. So our esports organization actually started back in 2002. So we were just gamers and people who are passionate about this. I guess that along the way we started to pick up more girls within our organization, and I think that we've always realized that there is this notion of discrimination that happens online. When you're a girl and you go and you play games, I mean, if you go on YouTube and you search, you have thousand testimonies of girls like filming and recording what is happening online, the type of discrimination, of gender-based discrimination that happens. And I guess that we've always known that there is this big gap that always existed. And when the chance came and we wanted to actually organize like a proper esports tournament because it was just becoming so popular, and we wanted to use this expertise that we've had for many years, we decided that we wanted to do something different, not just another tournament where it would be again like 99% guys joining it. And we wanted to do something that would be positive for the whole ecosystem. It would attract more younger girls to join, to look up to these other girls who are competing and see themselves also joining a competition. And I think that's a bit what triggered us to start this as a bit of an experiment to try and see how far could we go.
So what year was it that you first took on that experiment and really wanted to go forward with it? Was it 2016? Was it 2017?
2017, yeah.
And so how did it start? What was the scale? Give me an idea of the budget and kind of the professional. You guys had professional teams even then, or was it all kind of grassroots out of Portugal and then it expanded?
Uh,
Tell me about like the first one that you
no,
did.
actually, it was an invitational event. So we invited the best teams at the time that we were looking at other competitions. So we had Dignitas there. We had a very strong team from China, DNR. We had a team from Macau and one from Hong Kong. for League of Legends. We had some from Europe. I think at that time we just looked at all the leagues, online leagues, and other competitions that were happening, which were more likely to be like the most competitive teams out there, and we invited them directly to Macau to do this competition. The event was organized in this very big casino called Studio City, and it was actually really nicely planned. The problem is that 1 week before the event, we had the Typhoon 10, like the biggest typhoon of the last decade that kind of destroyed
That's crazy.
everything. So it was a bit complicated because all the tourism to the region was cancelled at that time. The girls were also like concerned because their parents, they're looking at the international news and seeing, oh, Macau is destroyed by this crazy typhoon. But well, it's a typhoon. I mean, it's past and it's gone, right? There's destruction. Yeah, there are
And
trees
it
that are
leaves.
are down and all, but it's kind of gone. So we went ahead and we continued with the event. We went forward with it, and I guess we didn't have that much attendance because people were not in the mood to actually go to entertainment events. I mean, there were still people that didn't have electricity at home. Some didn't have water. The city was
Wow.
under construction. So yeah, a lot of people lost their cars in the underground parking garages because it got flooded. So I guess people were not in the mood to go to any kind of entertainment event. So I think we just had hundreds, not maybe up to 1,000 people across the 2 days of events. Um, but from a streaming perspective, it was quite positive because we broadcasted it in more than 9 channels, and it got a lot of attention, especially from media industry as well. We had Sports Illustrated and other big medias who were
Even on the
very
first event.
keen, even on the first event, yeah,
Wow.
very keen on broadcasting and transmitting what was happening, like this kind of new initiative that was finally coming, like booming and giving opportunity for girls to compete. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And I guess it motivated us more to go further and organize the second edition.
And was that second edition that you ran, even after all the typhoon and everything that went on, was that the one? So the first one was in Macau, and then where did you guys decide was the second one? And then was there a struggle deciding maybe because of broadcasters or partners who wanted to come on board,
Hmm.
or did everyone kind of get it once you ran the first event?
There was a bit of back and forth because we wanted to do the jump and do a more international event. So we were actually looking at doing it in the US. We were actually negotiating with Disney World,
Mm.
with ESPN Worldwide Sports Complex
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was.
over in Orlando, that's where we ran the AAU event. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a really nice arena. We were there, like I was there already twice to look at it and to do discussions, but things were moving really slow. And with what ended up happening is the year was more or less in the middle, and we didn't have anything planned. Like very solid plan to go and to actually do it there. It would also be a bit of a challenge to organize it in the US. So what ended up happening is we pushed that for the year after, and we decided that let's do it in a place where we are comfortable, where we have like most of our members and people who can help us, and we know the market, we know the people, and we have the solutions. So we decided to do it in Portugal. The event was done in a casino again. Actually, it feels like it's a casino event, but it's actually not. This just happened to be
That's smart
in
though. I
a
will. That's very smart though to put it in a casino again.
well, casinos are not bad because most of them are actually looking to attract a younger crowd and
Hmm.
they're diversifying into entertainment. But it was not really our purpose. It just happens that this casino is one of the biggest in Europe. It's among the top 5 biggest casinos in Europe, and they have a really beautiful theater room where we wanted to use it to organize the event. And so it was fully equipped with lights, with a huge LED screen, so we just had to build like the tables and the esports component side of it. But
Hmm.
the AV was already there, ready to use. So we decided to go forward with that. And we ended up doing it in Portugal because it's where we feel more comfortable with, where we have like all our members or all our staff and people who want to help us to make this happen.
So it was definitely nice having the fact that there was the stadium built there. You were somewhere comfortable. You guys knew that you could activate it a little bit easier. But how
Yeah,
hard was
yeah.
it to start the grassroots development of it? Or was it already there because there was a needed market in which they could now finally, and I say them as in women, could finally compete within their own category, or that they've always should have been competing in that category, but now you guys have created an opportunity in which they can.
Mhm. I think that there has always been women leagues, but especially online. I guess that what we saw that was needed was a more prominent investment and better opportunities. Because if you only have online tournaments and you don't have an event that actually compels these teams to continuously compete, what happens is these teams they join up, they join an online league or something, and then they just stop playing or stop competing at least together, or they mixed up the teams or and all of that. It's a very unstable situation. So what we wanted to do, and we are still onwards towards that path. Is that we want to create more consistency, and we want to create all these mechanisms that help the teams to be more consistent as well in terms of their lineups. So, and I guess that has to go through like constant competition. So you need to have something that you can always compete at, be it an online ladder or tournaments that are created like ongoing online and then regionals and then like a global event. So we want to help the teams to have this consistency, to create this consistency. For also from organizations perspective, I guess that professional organizations, and I've spoken with, I had the chance to meet some of the big organization CEOs, and what everyone told me is that they are keen on having women on their teams, and they're keen on even participating, but
The financial
on these
model.
kind of leagues. But there, it needs to justify it, right? If
Hmm.
only exists one tournament per year that a female team can compete at, then it's
Unless
like
that
it
prize pool is like $1 million,
doesn't
there's no
justify.
way that they can justify taking on such a
Exactly.
burden. Yeah, no, it makes sense. So you're one who would call for you guys would even call for more events within the women category to be being
Oh,
held,
definitely.
because it not only does it help you, but it also helps these teams and helps the sport of esports overall really jumpstart and engage this part of the population so that they can go and actually compete, and so that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have the opportunity to compete at the same level that
Well,
males do, and
you,
that's the problem across all sports, it seems.
there's a bit of how should I say? There is a bit of mixed opinions in how should this matter be approached. I guess one of the
Tell me some of
opinions
them.
one of the opinions is ours, obviously, where we believe that what we are doing helps to attract more girls to the competition. I think that there are many girls that play games, but in terms of competing, there are not that many. So many play casually, but they don't compete. I think that it's important. What we do is important because it gives a platform for exposure and for inspiring more girls to join the competition. But I think that I also understand the point of view from other different people in the industry. And what we've heard more commonly is that there shouldn't be separated gender tournaments
I
because it kind of demotivates the girls from like how should I say, from deviating the path of competing in mixed tournaments in order to gain the necessary skills or whatever to be able to compete at the high level and then join these mixed teams and compete in high level competitions. I mean, I understand their point, but at the same time, I think that it's also very important to work on more grassroots level where you use the existing players who are already very competitive and like if you look at League of Legends, there are some girls who are like Grandmaster, Master, Diamond One, so they play really really well. So I think that these girls can serve as role models to inspire other girls who not yet compete but to join the competition and start playing themselves. I guess that this helps to lift up the competitiveness of the female side. And if you play very well, it doesn't mean that you're always or only going to be competing in female tournaments. I think it's just a stepping stone, right? It's just a
hmm
way to inspire more girls. And if we look at percentages, if okay, let's say 1% of all the competitors are like professional, very competitive players. I think that if you can increase the player base
Yeah,
first, then you're going to have more professionals from that gender, right? So what
yeah.
we're doing is more increasing the player base.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting what you talk about because, not only in the sport movement, but just in economics and life overall, there's the argument that, we have no place talking about this of what's best for a woman because we're men. Like we have no place telling them what they should do. They run the
Yes.
world. Let- we can't have anything over them. But what's interesting is that, there's the thought process of do you denigrate women by creating a slot for them that's guaranteed, right? And I don't think that that's true. I think that there are already, especially in gaming, there's women in gaming who have played. I'm
Hmm.
Grandmaster in Overwatch, and there's women who are Grandmaster in Overwatch, and that are better than
Yeah.
me. So there's no reason that they should not be playing in a traditional Overwatch League tournament or whoever was hosting it before that, or even
Hmm.
TESPA competitive. But I agree. I agree and see with what you're saying is that if you create the esports league that's for, let's just say, women, which Girl Gamer is a league that is promoting women development in esports,
Hmm.
they don't have to just compete in that. They can compete in whatever league or be a part of whatever team that they want. And I think that
Exactly.
probably part of the social construct that is right now, which is a shame, is that, people don't view women as being really good gamers, and they are good gamers. Anyone can be a good gamer if you put the time into it and you'll work on it.
Yes.
It's a
And the
sport.
dedication.
Yeah, you got to train. You got to train and you got to evaluate how you're performing and develop upon it. So, I mean, that's a very good point that you've talked to teams and also for you guys as a self with your business model is that you have to look at what the situation is, but also come with the perspective that
Hmm.
you're looking at promoting and developing it. So I hear you there. So with that said, what do teams need? Do they need more prize pool? What do you
You mean
hear?
organizations?
Organizations, yes. I mean, do you guys mainly have female-run teams that are playing? Do you have any female-run teams, or are they mainly the Dignitas, the CLGs who are having a women's team? But what do their structures look like? What's the pay gap between a female team that goes to your event and a male team that goes to a different type of event, an IEM, ESL, or something else?
Well, just replying in terms of pay gap, obviously there is a pay gap. I don't think that the pay gap is necessarily a negative thing, let's put it this way, because if you look at from a profession perspective, obviously that if someone is doing the same job as the other person, there shouldn't be a pay gap. But at the same time, esports is very media oriented, right? So if you have a whole system that is already structured and has a certain visibility, and you are competing in a certain league, or you are like a certain level of KOL or celebrity, then you're going to pull in more views and more people are going to watch you play that if you are not, right, if you don't have the opportunity to compete in such a league. I guess that if you play like in LCS or one of these big major CS:GO tournaments, you're going to have a lot of viewership, a lot of many million people are going to be watching you play, and I think that there's value in that. There's more value in that. Let's put it this way. But if you only play in a smaller league, then you're going to have less value. And I guess that because before we created our events, there was only like online and small leagues, that obviously the girls who used to compete on those leagues, and because they are not playing on the CSGO majors and the LCS and so on, they have a very big pay gap in terms of what they can earn from participating in these tournaments. I think that what we're trying to do is to raise the competitiveness, to actually create an event that I wouldn't say can necessarily be side by side with one of these CS:GO majors, but I guess it's just something that will help to grow and give more opportunities. So I think that we're giving more visibility in terms of what these teams and what these players, these female players, can get. But there's still definitely a pay gap that exists. But that's just because of the visibility that you can get if you play on one of these big male tournaments. Let's put it this way.
But as you said,
In,
there were online qualifiers beforehand. And now there's a live event that you guys have made that has been able to be a vehicle in which those online qualifiers
yeah,
can now serve for your live event. So you've kind of created a market in which can increase the visibility and media attention, which hopefully will increase it as a
it's
whole to
better.
eventually
Hmm.
become what is an ESL event. And I will say, I mean,
Yeah.
your guys' production quality and the amount of partners that you have come on board from, I think it was Mary Kay or Sephora was in
Yeah.
Australia, was one of them. How did that come about? And was it because you
It was
produced?
Benefit, by the way, Benefit Cosmetics.
Oh, sorry, Benefit Cosmetic. How did that come about? How did you get and lock down a really endemic brand in every other sport and every other industry, but to
Mhm.
esports that would be a huge move, and especially in Australia. How'd that happen?
So I think for us it was always one of our big goals when we started this event. We did want to start working. This is part of the opportunity that we saw and the gap that we saw is that these brands they never ever had a chance to invest into these segments of video games or esports because there has never been anything catered directly to them, right? If you look at Gillette or Axe or male oriented products, yeah, they look, guys are playing games. Okay, let's go and invest into this. But women brands, they never ever had a chance. So what we wanted to create with this event was not only create this side of the competition for women, but at the same time we wanted to give an opportunity for brands who want to target esports. Their consumers, their young consumers, which are girls, and they also play games. Like if you look at the gamers, not at the esports, but at the gamers population, it's like 40+% of women gamers.
Hmm.
If it's mobile, it's even more, right? If
Yeah.
it's mobile, it's I think there are more girls playing than guys
No, I,
actually.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Uh, so I think that what we always wanted to our big objective was always to open doors for these brands to come and to invest into something that they never had the chance before. So we always looked and we did our own effort in going out and trying to like cold call, cold email, find out who like add the marketing directors on LinkedIn. We're very active on that, and we are the ones doing it. I think people are a bit surprised because our team is really, really small. So when they see me like, on stage or running around like dismantling or oh, my light is
It's
off.
all good.
Uh, dismantling or doing something more operations wise. I guess it's because we are really hands on and a small team that we enjoy what we do and we want to do it in all levels to make sure that it's according to what we want to accomplish. So yeah, we go out there. We basically put ourselves out there and we go out there. It was funnily enough, it worked in the beginning, but for this last edition, we were actually contacted directly by Benefit Cosmetics,
Mm.
and that was pretty cool. The marketing director for Benefit Cosmetics in the UAE, well, based in Dubai, their office was actually a gamer. She used to play World of Warcraft, and now she
Mm.
plays a lot of Just Dance. So when she saw these events, she was just googling because she wanted to do something related with gaming and
Hmm.
when girls. And she was googling and she found out about our event. She also found out that Benefit Cosmetics back in Australia had already collaborated with us, and at the same time that our event was going to Dubai, where they're based. So it was like this very nice coincidence of all the stars getting aligned,
Hmm.
and we ended up. They are the ones who ended up contacting us to go to have a meeting with them.
It's pretty amazing that from a typhoon as your first event and the bad luck, it obviously ended up with the stars aligning in
Yes.
Dubai for an event that it was exactly with what you guys wanted. You guys wanted to activate those type of partners, and you were able to. Is there any way you can fix the light just because it's a little hard to see you? Is that possible?
There kind of is. Can you give me a second?
Oh yeah, no, we got it.
Let me see if I can do this. Yeah,
There you go.
done.
Perfect.
That's because it's battery powered, and we were like the setup took us
Yeah,
so
I know.
long.
It took us a little bit. It's all right.
Blinding me a bit though. Okay.
That's better.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty interesting how there was a typhoon and then now the stars have aligned and you've been able to do what you guys have been able to do.
Hmm.
But what's even more impressive is as a small team, you guys are doing not only the grassroots movement of reaching out to the teams and asking if they have uh, gamers
Hmm.
who are
Yeah.
women, right? I mean, how have you guys been able to balance the fact that you started off with what seemed like an Adidas deal was one of the first large deals for you guys, correct?
Well, actually, that was for our organization, for Grow Up
Got it.
Esports. It was not related. We were negotiating with another big brand, well, another major big brand for GirlGamer. We were also negotiating with Adidas for footwear for GirlGamer, but nothing moved forward yet. So we're still in conversations. I guess we'll see in this year, or well, maybe not this year because of the current situation, but
Mhm.
we'll see in the future.
And so, I mean, how do you guys as a small team manage what you guys are able to manage? You guys have a great, I imagine, who's the producer who produces the content? Because I know that you said you had a local friend who was a musician and also, I think, a cameraman who's been doing amazing videography work
It's
for some of
actually
your
the
event.
same guy.
He's doing the music and the videography.
Yes,
He's
yes.
doing a great job, and the edits are great
He
too. I
is.
mean,
He is.
for any sponsor or partner, when you watch the videos, and you see the event. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
masterclass event that you guys put on as a small team, but when you guys actually run it, you guys have a great run of show. That's amazing. How did that come? How did you learn what you guys excelled in? What were some of the things that you
Mm.
still need to work on? What are some of the things that everyone has problems with and they're just growing pains that you have to get over? What are some of those different
Mhm.
areas?
Well, I think our biggest growing pain is that we did grow a lot from an events perspective, but we didn't grow our team as much as we needed. So we are going to need more resources to be able to do that. I guess that we're fundraising now, and that's one of the objectives that we have is to properly expand our team. To have a proper business development person and not be me, have a proper, everything. I guess our team is very passionate about this. We do run this organization since 2002, started by Telmo before. So it's something that I mean everyone feels the energy when we are organizing the event, and they feel that we are doing our best, everything that we can to make this as successful as possible and to give the best experience possible to the participants. I think that putting your heart into it is the most important component. I mean, I'm not. I never studied anything, and none of us actually, none of our of the people right now on our team has an events organizing background. So we just
Hmm.
went and do it because we used to compete in different events across Europe, like Dream Hacks and so on. And well, I mean, we've been in the player side. We've been competing before in professional leagues and all. So we had the role as a player, and we kind of understand what the player wants and what we would have wanted if it was us competing. So I guess that we started from there, from that experience that we've accumulated throughout the years, and we just went and risked it to do it. I guess it was a very big learning experience since the first event up until now.
Learn
We
by
don't
doing.
really have, yeah, we don't really have like a producer right now. It's all of us that just manage a bit of everything. And that's something that we'll need to change because we're growing, and it's really important to keep consistency. That's one of the key learnings that we had from this 2019, the whole year. We ran so many events across the world, and all of them were really different because we don't have a single person who is a producer to like make sure that there's consistency. So we were not consistent. The experience that happened in Korea was different from Australia, was different from Spain, was different from Brazil, because we relied a lot in our local partners, and we're very thankful to them. But we need more consistency between the events, even though if they are different, even if they are in different locations or different cultures, we need to have some sort of consistency between the events. That's something that we'll be looking forward to implement as well in our next editions. But from a team perspective, I would say that our main problem right now is that we are a pretty small team of superstar people doing a bit of everything that is needed, whatever needs to be done, and we need to be able to delegate more and to be more specific into certain roles that each one of us does better. I would say.
So, talk about the fact that you need to expand your team, and obviously you're in a period now where you can do capital raising. You've proven that you have a model that works. You've proven that you have partners that have come on board. You're serving a very nice segment in the market. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you were talking to a fund that had a woman who was at the forefront of it, who was doing women empowerment, if I'm not mistaken. But how has it been valuing your business? How has it been being an event organizer, being a media brand, and creating digital media content? How has that been in your raise discussions, or what are you looking for in a partner, or for a partner to
Mm.
understand about you guys?
Well, I think that mm, first thing is that we actually we are diverging a bit from being an event organizer itself. It's been fun. It's been fun, but it's also been stressful and straining. And like I was saying, we don't have anyone with our team with the professional background of events organizing itself. So we are kind of diversifying a bit into not doing the event organization itself, but actually just managing the media side of things. Like the broadcast, the media content that is put out there, like the videos, the documentaries that we film in each of our events. We want all that media side related to the IP to be created and developed by us and managed by us. But the event itself, we do want to expand in a way that we will be relying more on partners, on different partners to execute them around the world. I think that there's a lot of people who do great esports events, like David, who we were
Yeah,
just with him
yeah,
just now. I think he does an amazing stuff, amazing things at eStar.
he's great.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that do amazing events. We don't necessarily want to be one more of them. We will if we have to, but it's not within our goals to be like mercenaries. And I don't think it makes sense for us to build a whole production team just to organize like our festival. Unless we do organize our festival like so many events around the world, but that will take a bit of time to grow into there, especially now with the current situation.
Hmm.
So I think that we will be focusing more on the other component, on the media management side, the IP management side, and not so much on the ground operations.
So when you guys said that you don't want to become an event organizer, but you guys have kind of had to because of the situation that you were in, you've learned a lot, but now you want to go more into controlling the IP, the broadcast, everything else. What does it look like when you bring on a partner or a potential partner for the production? What type of, you guys obviously have a valuable asset to any city, to any local community that you guys go to, because you're
Mm,
bringing in people from around the world, around the country, to go compete in a new market, a new technology-based market with focusing on women empowerment.
mm,
So, what kind of partners are you looking for, and how do you source them? Have you been able to find any of them, or have you had to go and do it yourself this entire time?
mm. We we've been pretty lucky that we have many friends around the world. We this year, if it was not for the current pandemic situation, we were planning to have up to 8 events all around the world in some really exotic and amazing locations. But unfortunately, this happened, and we're gonna have to see and study, observe what's happening in the across these next coming months. But it's probably not going to be able to happen at least in the first 2 or 3 quarters of this year. So I guess that it's everything is going to be pushed for next year. But yeah, in terms of partners, we've been lucky that we have many friends in the esports industry. The partners that work with us for the events in throughout 2019 are just amazing people and teams and organizations and companies that do amazing work in the esports ecosystem. I think that we've been lucky to have them as friends and have their interest in wanting to help us to bring this forward. I think that it is indeed a very interesting product. Let's put it this way. I was actually just contacted this morning by governments that I've met before that wants to pull the events to their country as well. So there's definitely a lot of interest surrounding this. For us, bringing it to the Middle East was a very big milestone that we wanted to accomplish because it's just a message itself. In the Middle East, there's still, and we saw this when we launched the trailer and we announced that the event's going to be in the Middle East, in Dubai specifically. We saw that there's a very big misconception still about Dubai, in this case, about the Emirates. And I think that we do want to help to change that from a information perspective, from a visibility perspective as well. And we want to show that in the Middle East is not necessarily as as bad, let's put it this way, for women as it's been promoted throughout all these previous decades, and that things are changing now. So for us, it was a bit of a milestone to bring the event to the Middle East and to do it there. And it was, I think we were quite satisfied to have this happen. Any other region wouldn't have the same impact as it was in this case. And the news coverage was amazing. Like
Yeah,
CNN put us on the global front page with an interview with the Middle East team that we helped to establish. I think these are all milestones that we want. We did have a couple of issues with this team. For example, some of the parents. There are some girls who are very competitive, but some of the parents didn't want them to go and participate because of the media exposure that they would get. Of course, there's still a bit of traditional thinking. Things do take time to change, but it's going. I mean, the path forward that they are designing, it's really the way forward, and it's starting to change,
that's
and that's the
interesting that
important thing.
that's interesting that you had, an area that would want to change their image and change perception about the situation. But when you talk about certain parents not wanting to go there or not wanting to participate, are you talking about people from, let's just say, U.S., Europe, who are coming there? Are you talking about people within the Middle East who were
No,
competing
Middle East,
there? So
Middle
it
East.
was even to the point where people within the Middle East weren't really they're struggling with themselves to kind of get to that point where no, this is what's happening. This is okay. This is
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah,
problems here. That's
yeah.
pretty interesting.
That's correct.
Tamo says great guys here. So we got Tamo talking. But it's really interesting that you guys have a product in which cities, governments, different organizations would want to attract to. Obviously, you serve the market as well. But you talked about COVID and what COVID is doing, so I think that we should
Mm,
segment to that a little bit right now, because obviously, esports was started off as uh, live events that were land based that then grew with streaming and broadcasting that
mm-hmm,
moved to online. And now, as it hit towards this $1 billion mark back, a couple years ago, you started to see the sports industry move into the esports industry. And I always told people that when that was happening, that is a blessing and a mistake because esports doesn't need to move to the traditional broadcasting methodology and ways all the time. It
correct.
can in a lot of ways, but esports positioned itself in a way now where all the big major events and pro events are now having to be canceled because they move too much to the esport or to the traditional sports model. And now
Correct.
they're the ones that are caught up in COVID as well, when they are the most perfectly built organizations and media structure to
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
embrace what it is, OTT, playing from home, breaking borders, but also competing in great events. That was what TSM did, CLG did, back when they started what then became the LCS and Riot Games and the professional circuit. So,
yeah.
what have you guys learned from COVID? And, based off of a few questions I wrote down, what are your responsibilities as Girl Gamer or even grow up in this aspect during this time period? Who's going to be helped? What are the opportunities? These are drastic and
Mm-hmm.
unlikely, but who's going to get hurt within uh, your immediate partner base? Who are the ones that are most at risk? Those are a few of the questions I wanted to ask.
I think that esports does have a bit of a different opportunity in terms of the current situation that is happening. There's definitely a lot of people in trouble, especially people from the traditional sports media, people from the events industry, people from the hospitality industry. I think everyone is having a bit of a struggle with the current situation. Everyone that's engaged in these industries. Esports is a bit different because, as you mentioned, it's something that grew online, and I think that it can just fall back into becoming online. So I think that it's going to be much a smoother transition to escape. I even think that there's actually an opportunity, a bigger opportunity right now, because well, traditional media don't have anything to talk about in terms of sports activities. They're looking into this. Did you see the announcement? NBA is doing the tournament with the actual professional basketball players
Yeah, it's funny because I just got off
competing.
the phone with the NBA yesterday. But yeah,
That's
no,
amazing.
yeah,
It's an amazing initiative.
it
So
makes
so
total sense. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, it makes total sense.
No, I think esports is has the perfect opportunity and the perfect timing. Even the World Health Organization is
I
coming
saw
out.
that.
They before they said, "Oh, this is really bad. It's a mental disorder," and now they're saying, "Oh, actually, it's a healthy social pastime." So I
Hmm.
think that things are shifting, and esports does have an opportunity here because people are spending more time at home. People are spending more time consuming digital media as well. So it's an opportunity to create more content towards these people who are consuming it right now. I guess content creators like YouTubers, streamers. I'm quite sure that their audience is growing because people are just have more time to watch this content and absorb this content. I guess for us, it's going to come to this strategy as well, moving things online. I do see a lot of leagues, online leagues coming, like continuously coming, switching from the offline events, and they're just moving back online. That's
Hmm.
an interesting phenomenon, as you were saying, because everything was already built following the traditional sports. Fill up the arenas, bring the people, and now suddenly this happens, and okay, esports has a fallback. We can just move back online, and traditional sports they can't.
Yeah.
So I think that from that perspective, it's right now it's a good opportunity to start and do more things related with esports.
And so, I kind of want to bring up two more things I brought up, but with the COVID
Hmm.
situation that's going on, who are the people that are immediately hurt within your stakeholder base, and what are you guys looking to do to kind of keep them engaged or give them an outlet or something that they can still be like, no, we're still here, we're still going to do this for you guys. What are you
Hmm.
guys doing in that aspect?
There's a good question. I cannot really think of someone who's like getting really really hurt right now by this within the industry itself. I guess people who are more related directly with the events, people who run esports arenas, for example, are going to see their arenas empty, I guess. They have the basic operation costs and everything. I think that, but I think from our perspective, it's pretty chill. I guess it's. I don't see it being such a big problem for us. Of course, we had all the events planned, and I mean, it's gonna be a bit of a shift. I do see brands not investing that much. I've spoken with some brands that we were supposed to be on board, or they were supposed to be on board with us for this year, but because of the retail sales, that's going to be a very big loss. First, because of Chinese tourists not traveling and spending money, and now because their shops are just shut down for the whole world.
Yeah.
So I think that this is gonna make a lot of brands who otherwise would be investing into sponsorship and all of that. They're gonna stop right now, and they're gonna pause and observe what's gonna happen. So I think that this does hurt esports a bit because we if we want to run even running things online there, it's going to be costly as well, not as costly as running an event that involves hotels and logistics and AV production, but it's still going to be costly. So if we don't find any sponsors, because sponsors are like just put a pause on their budgets
Hmm.
and on all their spendings, I think that's going to hurt a bit. But we will still do it because we want to have this happening. But I think that if you are like an operator that needs to rely on those sponsorship monies to be able to actually like produce and deliver the content, then it's going to be hard.
Yeah, and that's definitely going towards your live events and kind of meeting the budgets. I mean, the esports industry, there's a
Yeah.
rough number out there that 70% of all the revenue comes from sponsorships. And obviously, during these times, especially within traditional sports, they're going to have to cut all of their budgets, and the first thing to go
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
advertising and marketing, then staff, because those are your biggest burdens. So that makes complete sense on what's going to go first. But with that said, you guys are able to adapt, and esports can always fall back on what it was, and it can always go back online, and
Yeah.
traditional
Yeah. Yeah.
sports
Yeah.
can't. But I mean, are you guys looking for what is something that you see as okay, we can start to re-engage with our operations? Not a definitive timeline, but what you're kind of hoping for to kind of get going and ramp back up some of the conversations that you were having.
Well, we are still having those conversations actually, but right now everyone is in pause and observing the development. I think there are a couple of challenges. It's not just that it's right now forbidden in most countries to actually do gatherings and organize events, but at the same time, even when this period of more complications go away, there's still going to be like doubts in people. Maybe they are still worried and they're not going to go to events because you know one person could be still infected and infect the whole crowd or something. I think this is going to take a bit of time, but we are still having those conversations about hosting the events. But I think that from what we're seeing and things are still like the virus is still spreading exponentially around the world, especially it's hitting the US very hard right now.
Yeah.
I think that this is still going to take at least until next year for the events in general to be able to come back to life. I think.
Would you guys ever run an event with just the teams and the athletes, and then just produce it kind of with no one in the stands like they did at I am Katowice, or do you think that that's not something that you
We
want to take the risk of doing?
we you mean have we done it or are we looking to do it?
Well, I guess have you done it, or are you looking to do it? Have you done it?
I was gonna say we haven't done it, but our event in Macau because of the typhoon was
Had no one. It might as well have
kind
been.
of something,
That's
kind
funny.
of something like that.
Yeah.
There were people, but like a couple hundreds only. I think that we've experienced. We don't have. I mean, the broadcast is indeed very important because it does reach all this audience around the world, and that's something that like these eyeballs. There's a big value in it, but I mean, I think the eyeballs, the spectatorship. I mean, the spectatorship is in people who actually go to these stadiums and watch the event. They are like in terms of value per person is very inferior compared to traditional sports.
100%.
So yeah, so I think that not having an actual physical audience is not as bad as if you host a football game and or a
Hmm.
basketball game in an empty stadium. I think it's not as bad if it's esports. But at the same time, I think that nobody wants to do something like that. I mean, Katowice went ahead because well everything was already
Yeah,
set
I
for
know.
it to
Yeah, yeah.
happen. And if it wasn't, they probably wouldn't do it right to an empty stadium, or they would do it in a smaller scale or something like that. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
you look at
nobody
what
wants
they've
it.
had to do. They've had to cut a lot of their staff due to it, and their projections of their losses are pretty sustainable. And
Yeah, yeah.
because obviously they rely heavily upon sponsorship as well as everyone else, and their events, which are great, they're produced
Hmm.
amazing, but they're in the same boat. So you kind of brought up one other point that I wanted to talk about back a little bit ago. Let's talk about publishers. So when you guys are receiving your licenses, are they doing it as part of their wellness and benefit, or sorry, social community good,
The responsibility.
social responsibility, or are they, do you guys still have
Mm.
kind of a negotiation with them that's you guys are paying like, a lot of money for their licenses, or is it part of their social responsibility?
I think what's interesting is that our model and the kind of product that we've developed with this women's side competition, I think that it does open different doors and opens more open. It's how should I put it? It's people are more prone into being into supporting this cause because
100%.
it's not just I mean it's not just an event like any other. It's actually an event that has a very positive mission of women empowerment and actually making a difference for everyone in the world. So I think that it's easier for us to go and have these conversations. We've never paid for a license, okay? So it's always been supported by the publisher. Even our most complicated situation for example for this event in Dubai was actually with FIFA because we had an event for was not for girls, it was for young kids at school, and we were giving out scholarships. But the scholarships in Dubai have a very big they're very expensive, let's put it this way. And the scholarships that we were giving out were up to 70,000 US dollars in
Wow.
scholarships. And the community guidelines for EA Sports for tournaments, they only allow, I think it's up to 10,000 if I'm not
For
mistaken.
scholarships through
Um,
EA Sports?
No, that's the thing. They don't care. The price can only go up to 10,000. So we actually had to apply for a license to get like to unlock the ability of doing like a proper tournament that would have a prize. And we try to explain like, guys, this is a scholarship. We are not. And what's happening is that the kids are getting the scholarship. They're not getting the money. So it's like it's not a money prize. It's but they still value it in that way. So we actually did a full application where we would even have to pay. I think it was
What's the fee
10 or
cost?
12, 10 or $12,000 for the licensing. But in the end, when they read the full application and they said, "Oh, you guys are not going to have streaming. The people, the competitors, the kids who are going to compete don't even have to buy a ticket to go and compete, and you're not giving out prize money, you're giving out scholarships. So it's something positive." And this is also done in partnership with the Ministry of Education in back in Dubai. So they ended up providing us the license for free, as in they basically said, "Oh, you can use the community license, and you have an exemption. You can be exempt for following this guideline, this specific guideline of the pricing amount, provided that you are not giving money, you're giving just the scholarships." And
Got it.
that's what we did.
So they were very protective of even the scholarship initiative. They're still very protective of their IP and wanting you to get the license clearances. Who has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
who has been the most easy publisher to work with? And do you guys
Oh,
traditionally charge? I mean, what is your biggest prize pool that you've offered? What games are being played, and what do you guys charge for tickets?
this
Or
this
in that
last
event? Sorry.
yeah, this last event, um, this last event in Dubai was 100,000 US dollars prize pool for both League of Legends and CS:GO.
It was a what? Say that one more time.
Um,
Sorry.
League of Legends and CS:GO, 100K US dollars,
Wow.
and yeah, it was the biggest that we put out there. What else? In terms of publishers, easiest publisher is definitely Valve. They're super open and super easy to work with. Um, Riot could be easier. They are nice guys, but could be easier. I would say. I would love it. I would love it if it would be easier. But we did get provided everything from tournament realm to unlocked accounts, anything that we needed. It's just not as straightforward. The process is just not as straightforward as Valve is in terms of openness. But well, it's important for Riot to promote women empowerment,
Hmm.
as everyone in the gaming industry knows. So they've been pretty cool with us. It just takes a bit more time and a bit more communication, but it moves forward as well. What else? We've worked with Supercell before. They're super nice as well and very open for supporting. They supported our event back in Portugal with like a lot of merchandise and prizes and,
Hmm.
and t-shirts and all. Was pretty cool. But yeah, overall, we don't really have an issue in working with game publishers. I think everyone kind of understands the mission of what we're trying to achieve here,
Definitely.
and they're very supportive of the initiative.
And so when you got that $100,000 prize pool, I mean, how many partners do you have to bring in to not only run the event, hotel booking and hotel blocks, working with security,
I'm laughing because that's all done with. I'm laughing because that's all done by us.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying. I mean, like, you guys
yeah,
you gotta get the hotel block, you gotta get
all the
all the vendor
logistics.
space.
Yeah.
But not only do you guys just run the event, which is the esports event, you guys have a festival. That's why it's GirlGamer Festival. You guys actually have the cosplay, which you had at Dubai. You guys have entertainment that's going on as well, and running all the.
Yeah.
I mean, from the production to the actual transportation and logistics to the actual run of show, the event organization, who's going to be playing on this and in this bracket at this time,
Hmm.
you guys as a team are doing a lot. And I mean, to even offer $100,000 prize pool with your team that
Yeah,
you
we are.
have, that's a really good accomplishment. But how are you able to do that in 3 months? How are you able to plan that out, run the event in Australia, then run the event in another part in 5 continents? What
Yeah,
what
it's
method do you guys have? What does Tamo do? What do you do? Do you guys kind of delegate out two roles each and say, all right, we're gonna do it all?
well, I don't want to say specifically because we all do a bit of everything, but Telmo has been assuming a bigger role in the logistics side. He's the one who managed like all the hotel rooms. blocking, like, the locations. Where he's the one who coordinated all the flights individually with each player to make sure that
That's
the flight is
amazing.
suitable. The players were very flexible as well, because we did have some of the like when we did our event in Madrid, we had a big problem because the same weekend there was like this very big medical convention happening. The
Mm,
hotels were super crazy expensive, and the flights were also exorbitant. So some flights that used to cost like $100, they suddenly become $1,000. So it was pretty complicated, and some of the girls were very receptive and open to help us and collaborate with us to help us to fit all the flights within the budget that we had available. And they traveled by train to different cities to catch a flight from a different place, which was 10 times cheaper. So it helped us a lot. So I think that even the players, they understand the kind of what we are trying to accomplish here, what we're trying to do. Everyone is really supportive and collaborates in all levels. But yeah, I think our team does quite a bit in terms of responsibility. Um, and um, and yeah, that's just what it is. I mean, it's got to be done. Someone's got to do it, and we're there to do it.
so it's kind of interesting that they support the community and they support what you guys are doing, so they're willing to help you guys out. How
Yeah.
soon do you guys think until once one of them stop playing? I mean, how soon or how eager are you guys to actually have them within your team? I mean, they've obviously played in it. They know what they would want better. They know what they would like to do. Are you guys kind of open to that, or even on a temp level, if you do something, have you been reached out to by certain people and they want to do it?
Yeah, we have actually people in our team. For example, our social media person right now, it's Karen. She's a girl who sent us a message. She's from Chile. She randomly sent us a message on Twitter and said, "Oh, I would love to like collaborate and work with you guys and try and help out." And we ended up like working with her. We flew her to Brazil, where when we went and did the event there, and she's been handling our social media, and she was also in Dubai with us handling all our social media. So it's been, I mean, we're very open to working with different people. Of course, like we're still a small team, and accepting more people to work with us means that we need to manage more people, and it kind of adds up to the responsibility. I think that it's not easy when you have to manage more people, and especially for me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I also feel that when I need something done, I sometimes I rather just go and do it
Do it
myself
yourself
than
because
than
it's
having to
easier.
explain to someone, and then this person does it and then comes back, and then I need to go and say, oh, it's not really like that. So eventually, we do need people who can really understand what we're doing and are in sync with us. So it's not so easy. We were lucky that Karen is in sync with us, but yeah, we're open in working with different people. I guess that's a very nice way that the community is also participating in that. A couple of months ago, we needed a designer because previous it was me and a couple of friends that were doing like all the design for the event, like the first event and the second in Portugal. We did everything, so it was starting to become too overwhelming as we need to focus on other areas. So we had to hire a designer, and we ended up posting it online. A lot of people applied, like amazing artists from all over the world. And then we ended up hiring a girl that we already knew
Mm.
from Macau, because at that time it just happened that she was also looking for a job, and she already worked with us previously, and it ended up being her. But I was very impressed that we were looking for a designer, and we got like
Someone that
people
you was
from
close
all
and
over
that you
the world.
knew. All right, well,
Yeah,
we have
yeah, yeah.
about like 6 minutes left, so I want to kind of like end it
All
on.
right, let's go.
I know I want to end it on something that's of hope and that you guys are really looking to do. What would be the three options for the best event that you could run? And if you could talk to someone inside the US or talk to someone across the world, tell me what Girl Gamer brings in like demographics and statistics. Like, give me the numbers. What is Girl Gamer worth to X city? What can you bring them that they don't get and they don't have? Tell me that, and we'll end with that.
Okay. I think that our event brings an audience that is international. The players themselves are from all over the world, and they are coming to compete in a certain region. The reach that we have in terms of media, in terms of broadcast, it's just crazy huge, as in the hundreds of millions in terms of reach. Like I was saying, we even had the article on CNN.com global front page, so it was really good. We've had coverage from all sorts of media before, and I think that this is I mean, the value of it from a media perspective is just so big that that itself is like probably the biggest benefit of all. At the same time, it's also positioning a region as a innovative location. I think that bringing creative people, bringing young people, and putting this certain region on the map, it's something that is important and attractive to many cities who right now want to become like the capital of entertainment in their region. Dubai, for example, is certainly one of those. It's a place that lives off tourism. Macau, where we did our first event, obviously as well. It's only casinos, and they want to diversify into entertainment and become like an entertainment city of Asia. So I mean, there are definitely very key strategic locations where an international event of this sort would bring like tremendous amounts of benefits.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. And I mean, I think that you guys have the opportunity to give any region a new story
Hmm.
and a story that they don't have and that they really can't get if it wasn't for an event like you.
Hmm.
So I think that that is 100% true. Well, thank you so much, Fernando.
No,
Thanks
thank you
for
for
helping
having
me
me.
launch this first one of Esports Breaking Borders.
Oh, it's my pleasure to
You're
be the
always a
first.
good friend. Well, what? We're only going to see each other once this year, probably in Israel, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see, right?
Oh,
How things.
unless you come to Texas for our travel summit, but
I would love to.
who's gonna be on the plane? But no, hey, you know you need to because you have cities there who need this type of event. So I think that you
Well,
gotta,
we have those kind of cities kind of everywhere.
I know that's the thing. They should fly to
But
you.
yes.
So
Yeah, fly the cities over.
yeah.
But yeah, well, the US is well, as I was saying, after we did the event in Macau, the US has been like one of our biggest objectives into
Hmm.
breaking into, and we still haven't made it possible, but we are definitely looking very strongly into that.
No, I hope it is so that I can go to it and actually see this thing in person too.
Well,
So,
you can go to it even if it's not the US.
oh, not right now, but no.
Not right now, not
Yeah,
right now. You can come to our online league.
and compete.
Not compete,
Nah,
but you
come
can
on
watch
now.
it.
That's awesome. All right, well, our social media handles are Esports Breaking Borders at Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. This has been the first episode, and thank you so much, Fernando.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.